What's going on, guys? It's Pac-Man Jones with Savannah Seaport News, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but I just want to report this. This happened last week, Sunday, on October 30th, when there was a shooting on West River Street at about 3 a.m. Sunday. Officers responded to a scene to find a 24-year-old male shot outside of a bar. That bar is called the Saddlebags bar. It's off of River Street, and what they were saying was, the guy was taking out the trash and he was approached by three males. One of them had a gun, and an altercation happened and they shot him in the leg. They fired 2 rounds, but they struck him in his upper left arm, but he was expected to recover. It was non-life-threatening injuries. They also talked to one of the employees that was a friend with the victim. She said that she was trying to process the whole thing while everything was happening. I mean, it was basically a armed robbery gone bad. That's what it really was. But what she was saying is that she said it seemed a lot like it was an ambush, because the security guard was in a truck attempting to take out the trash when a female came up to the driver's window and attempted to punch him. As a security guard stopped to get out the truck, 2 male suspects approached him. When another Saddlebags employee tried to intervene, the suspects started shooting. So yeah, like I said in that Savannah for Dummies episode, if you haven't seen that one, like I was saying, you may have to, whenever you downtown and it's that late at night, travel in groups. I suggest traveling groups of 3 or better. And also in my next story, I just wanted to give a little update in my last story that I talked about with the guy that robbed the Bebo's store off of the Lessups. They now believe that he was involved with another robbery that happened in September that took place on the 2000 block of Skidaway Road in September, and the separate incident in October where he robbed the Lessup store, of course. They said that on September 26th incident, around 4 a.m., they found a 37-year-old victim suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to Memorial with serious injuries. They think that they're stemmed from the same guy that did the armed robbery on October 28th with the Bebo's convenience store around 2:20 a.m. when they found a 45-year-old store employee suffering from a non-life-threatening injury when he was transported to Memorial. But I mean, they just believe that he was the same guy, and the police are trying to limit the description of him, because if they say that he is getting away in a white garbage truck, then he might switch up. So they're really selective of what they're trying to release out to the public as far as what the police is saying. But they really trying to catch this guy. And also on Monday, we had a fatal shooting on the south side on the 1400 block of Stillwood Avenue. That's kind of like around Largo, kind of like getting close to Coffee Bluff a little bit. But anyways, police responded to that scene, and they seen one person dead after shots were fired. Investigators believe it took place about 2:15 p.m. and it stemmed from a domestic altercation. Now, details is still limited at this time. They haven't released the victim's name. I don't know why, of course. I mean, it's been over a week now. I mean, sometimes they would hide the information, but this happened a week ago, so if I can get any other updates, I will give it to you as soon as possible. Now, on Thursday, a federal correctional officer was in custody for charges of trafficking cocaine on Thursday, November the 3rd, and they arrested Ariken Lawson, 22, of Lumber City, Georgia. He was stopped on Interstate 95 between Highway 24 and Interstate 16 and was taken into custody without incident. So that's happening. That's like on the highway. That's in Chatham County. In October 2016, following information that Lawson, a correctional officer at McRae Correctional Facility, a private under contract with the Federal Bureau of Prisons was possibly aiding federal inmates. During this investigation, it was determined Lawson presented his willingness to transport large amounts of controlled substances during off-duty hours to exchange for money. Thursday morning, undercover agents met with Lawson in an undisclosed location in Chatham County. Lawson agreed to transport a large amount of cocaine and left with the drugs. A loaded firearm was also found in Lawson's possession. Agents then took him into custody. He was charged with criminal attempt to traffic cocaine, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and use of telecommunication device. He's being held in Chatham County, and I believe he's already arraigned. He was arraigned by Friday. And now, what I can say about this is, I see this happening. I believe I seen this happen. Something like this happened last year, and it actually happened to a guy that I actually knew as a child, growing up. I believe his name was like Najee, and it's like the kind of the same story happened to him, where he was caught trying to sneak drugs inside the prison. And you hear a lot of stories like that. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, there's drugs inside the prisons. You'll be surprised of what you see inside of a prison and who's like really behind it. So stories like this are kind of common. I mean, you see it quite often. And also on Thursday, there was a shooting on East 33rd Street. On Thursday afternoon around 12:30, police responded to the 1500 block and found a 15-year-old male and a 19-year-old male suffering from a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Also, a 19-year-old female was also found with a graze wound. I believe she reportedly drove herself to the hospital. The victims were standing outside of a residence when shots were fired. The two males were taken to Memorial for treatment. The suspect in the incident was described as a black male, slim build. And what was crazy about this story was, initially when they reported two people being shot, and then they were saying that another person was shot, and she, I guess that was the lady, she reported herself later. So I mean, a lot of news came in like back and forth, like zigzag information. So I had to kind of piece this together. And also, there was another shooting Thursday night that injured a man in the Fraser Homes area. Police responded to the area around 1:30 p.m. where they found a 26-year-old man arrived in a personal vehicle to the University of Memorial, that medical center. That's the center where all the gunshot victims go to, if you guys didn't know. But he was taken there for like non-life-threatening injuries, but he didn't want to comply with the police. He didn't want to talk about what this shooting was. And then that's common too. People don't want to talk about who shot them. I think I did a story about that, where a guy, he got shot off White Bluff and Posey, and the guy almost got killed. And they tried to talk to him about it, and he didn't want to say anything. You know, you got this no snitch code. Even when you're the victim, people ain't really trying to give it up. A lot of people want to take it in their own hands. And, you know, I mean, if you want to take it in your own hands because somebody else killed you, I mean, I kind of understand, because, I mean, somebody threatened your life, somebody tried to take you out. But, I mean, this can only evolve into more shootings and more beef in the streets. And Sunday, my last piece of news, there was a vehicle that went into the Skidaway River at about 1:40 a.m. Sunday morning. I believe they found the vehicle. It was a blue Chrysler 200. They also said the driver of the vehicle was unfamiliar with the area and drove into a boat ramp. Three of the occupants, 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, and 21-year-old, swam to safety. The fourth occupant, a 17-year-old male, did not return. The vehicle was recovered from the water and searched, but the 17-year-old was not inside. Metro divers searched the area and were also unable to locate the missing teen. So they're trying to find this teen that was supposedly lost in the water. They have a aviation unit, a scuba unit. I mean, they're really trying to find this guy. I really just looked up this information today, so it's kind of new to me as well. Now the police are using tactics to find him. They're trying to find him during the daylight times, because I believe that's just the best times. And when it's dark, they're going to stop and resume at 7 a.m. They resumed at 7 a.m. today to see if they could find his body. But I mean, they found the car, but I mean, sad story. I mean, hopefully they can find this teenager. Like I said, they say he wasn't from the area. He wasn't familiar with that area, that it was a ramp right there and he was driving into it. So it looked like it was an accident, and hopefully they can find him, and condolences to his family. Also, I just got this information. The 17-year-old boy name is Andrew Barnes. So yeah, that's the guy's name. I don't have any pictures or anything yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll do an update of this pretty soon. So stay tuned for an update. I probably have that going on pretty soon. But that's all for right now. It's Pat Man Jones with Savannah Seaport News, and I'm out.